And on behalf of MIT School of Business, my co-faculty Dr. Vandana Gupta and all our students, it's my pleasure to welcome Dr. Surabhi Paliwal. And students, as I have told you earlier also, it is my utmost pleasure to introduce an alumni. And Surabhi has been our alumni. She completed her BBA from Amity School of Business in 2007-10. She is currently working as a co-founder with SIP AgroPack, and she has been recently awarded her PhD degree, one of the best feather in her cap, which she got recently. She has more than 9 years of industry experience as an entrepreneur, and she is known to be a problem solver. She has a multi-domain experience in business development, technology, logistics, and e-commerce. Her PhD is in social entrepreneurship, and she has a lot of experience in corporate and business matters and has written articles on various reputed platforms like the Huffington Post, Times of India, People Matters, etc. It is my utmost pleasure, and I am really thankful that she accepted the invite. And she's going to speak on the consumer decision making process and the B2B picture. Surbi, I and Vandana are wholeheartedly welcoming you once again to ASB on a digital platform and would request you to start off.
Welcome, ma'am. Welcome to Amity.
So thank you so much, ma'am, for such a detailed and wonderful introduction that I've been given. I hope I live up to the expectations of the students, majorly because this is their session. So today we are going to be talking about consumer decision making, and I am going to, not make it very theoretical and come down to the nice, fun, practical part. But before that, uh, brush up on what is the actual concept. So, with your consent, ma'am, I shall begin. Uh,
Yes, Surbi, definitely.
Basically, first let's talk about what is this consumer decision making process. This process that allows us to be aware of their needs, to collect information, and how they can best solve the present situation or the problem that they have in their hand after considering various alternative options and finally coming down to a purchase decision. That is all about the consumer decision making process. Let us just understand this with a simple example. Next slide. So, for example, if you plan to change your lifestyle and go on a certain exercise routine or want to follow a particular diet routine, and you've decided that to get motivated and to actually track your fitness routine, you would need a fitness tracker. It helps you to keep count of your basic steps, your calories burned, your calories intake. So you decide that you need that is your need. The need of having an app or any alternative to solve your current situation of tracking your fitness routine would be the first stage, that is identifying the need. The second would be that when you're trying to find out the various devices, so you're collecting information out in the market. If you need a fitness tracker, or uh, that allows you to routine. So this would be our second stage where we talk about information collection. Then after that, we come down to evaluating the features, and that would include evaluating on the parameters of price, on the parameters of what characteristics are we getting offered, what would be the function, and how that would fit into our lifestyle. After the evaluation, we come down to the purchase decision. So we here figure out if we want watch, we want to go with just a fitness tracker, or if you just want to go a subscription based app where you're in daily touch with your coach and following a certain diet. So finally, after you've taken your purchase decision, a purchase evaluation is made. That is called the post purchase evaluation. So that includes um, you yourself understand you've taken a positive decision, you're happy, or you're negative. have a negative emotion towards the whole concept, and you thought that maybe this was not the right idea to go with. So that comes down to the post purchase evaluation. After that, ma'am, next slide, please. So here, this whole behavior of taking the decision as a consumer, it is a complex procedure, and that involves various stages, starting from identification of the problem to the post-purchase activities. And every consumer has different needs in their daily lives, and those needs are the propeller that help you to take the different decisions. Ma'am, next slide. Now, taking decisions as a consumer, there are various factors that influence our decision making levels. So we've listed over here 5 simple factors that influence our decision making process in everyday lives. That includes level of consumer involvement, length of decision, cost of good or a particular service, degree of information search, and number of alternatives considered. So depending upon what kind of product it is, what kind of need it is solving, and how would it fit into your lifestyle, we have 5 factors that basically influence our decision making as a. Ma'am, next slide. Now, when we talk about levels of consumer decision making, as we've already discussed, that decision making requires the same amount of efforts in the information search. So researchers have identified basically 3 specific levels of consumer decision making. They are extensive problem solving, limited problem solving, and routinized response behavior. Ma'am, next slide. So depending upon how much involvement as a consumer we put in our decision making, they have been categorized into 3 categories. Where you're involving yourself, that is a routine response behavior. That could be a day-to-day item that you're using in your routine lives, and any decision making that involves your more involvement could be a particular product, or something that you don't buy very often. So that would be your extensive decision making that would require more involvement from your end as a consumer. We will discuss all of these in details now. Ma'am, next slide, please. Extensive problem solving. So when consumers have no established criteria for evaluating a particular product that they need, or they have not really narrowed down to any particular choice, so then we are into an extensive problem solving. At this level, the consumer needs a great deal of information to establish a set of criteria that we want to, on the basis of which we would judge a particular brand, and a large amount of information so that we can make our decision, accordingly on these set parameters. For example, if you are buying something very expensive or important, or that is technical and you've not used before, in this kind of issues, or in these kind of situations, we use our extensive problem solving decision making skills. Ma'am, next slide, please. Next would be limited problem solving. So at this level, consumers have already established a basic criteria for evaluating the product category, but they haven't been able to establish a preferred category. Their search for additional information is more like fine tuning, and they end to gather additional brand information to actually make a fine tuned decision. For example, if you want to purchase a new updated version of something, or you are replacing something old with something new, so here you would come into the category of limited problem solving. Ma'am, next slide, please. Now, this is a very commonly consumer behavior, which would be categorized under the response behavior. At this level, consumers have certain experience with the product category, and they have a well-established set of criteria that they want to follow. Here, we as consumers generally need very little additional information, and a simple example would be picking up a day-to-day day-to-day or routine decisions while you're buying a product. For example, if you just run to a grocery store and you know what you all need, that would be a simple routinized response behavior. Ma'am, next slide please. Now, this is a very simple model of decision making, consumer decision making. So I just want to like brief out over here. Any decision making basically has three major steps: input, the process, and the output. So input would be what we are considering. These are generally affected by the external influences. So the marketing efforts of the firm, of the marketer, what you intend to buy, the socio-cultural environment, your friends, your family, these would affect the input stage. Then we would come down to the process stage. Here, the decision-making process takes place. The need is recognized. The pre-purchase search, the evaluation of alternatives, we all go through this in the process stage. And that is further affected by your psychological field, how your motivation, your perception, what is your learning towards a particular product, the related brands, the information search that you've done, your personality and the attitude that you carry towards a particular brand could also have an influence. Post that, that would be the output. The output would be your post decision behavior. If it was the purchase that you've made, is a trial purchase, it is a repeat purchase, are you going to take it again? If you're happy with it, if your feedback is positive, you might just go for it in future. So this is a simple process, and here we can understand that how external factors and additional consumer psychology is affected while you're making a particular decision. Ma'am, next slide please. Now, when we come down to the decision-making process, as we discussed earlier, we're going to talk about the basic 5 steps. We can break them down and just, revise them up in a bit of detail. So we know that there are 5 certain stages of decision-making process: need recognition, information search, evaluation of alternatives, the purchase decision, and the post-purchase behavior. This, in turn, is all affected by a consumer's cultural, social, individual, and psychological factors, which in turn help us as a consumer to make decisions. I would like to add an interesting fact over here, that if you have ever noticed a marketer's point of view, an FMCG brand, let's say Hindustan Unilever. Hindustan Unilever is making ads that can affect your psychology, that impact your thinking process, somehow affect your emotions, so that you, while you're taking a decision, you think about that brand, and then if you are positively affected, you would like to go for that brand. So that is how these factors affect us when we're taking a decision. Next slide, ma'am. Let's talk about the first stage, which is need recognition. So need recognition it occurs when consumers exactly determine their need. They may feel like they're missing out something, that they need a good or a service to address that particular issue, to fill in that gap. So when businesses are able to determine when their target market starts developing these needs or wants, they can avail the ideal opportunity to advertise their brands. That's what I talked about. A marketer can understand this gap and try to strategize their ads accordingly to impact a consumer in their direction. For example, a person who buys water or cold drink identifies their need as thirst. It's as basic as that. These consumer decision-making steps are considered to be important when an expensive brand is under buying consideration. For example, a car, a laptop, or an expensive mobile phone, an iPhone, something like that. So these stages become even more critical during that decision-making process. And next slide. This is the next stage, the information search stage. It helps in the buyer decision process, as that changes continually as consumers require obtaining more and more information about the products which can satisfy their needs. So if everybody is on social media these days, and if you have noticed, every brand is trying to capture a certain percentage of audience through their social media. Even bigger brands like you would say Nestle or Nescafe, they have their ads displaying on YouTube. Although we are pretty much aware as consumers about these brands because they are huge, they are giant, and we know them about since ages. But they would still be popping out so that whenever you are trying to, gather information, they are there in your heads while you're taking a decision so that you can be diverted towards them when you're taking a particular decision of buying. Information can also be obtained through recommendations from people who have previous experiences with products. So recommendations through our friends, family, we go ahead and we talk to them and then we are influenced under them. Ma'am, next slide, please. The third stage, which involves evaluation of alternatives. So this is basically when you are, looking for options. When you are deciding that you need to pick up something, you need a solution to something, you're looking for alternatives. Now, this steps involves evaluating different alternatives that are available in the market along with the product life cycle. Once it has been determined by the customer what can satisfy their need, they will seek out the best possible option. And this evaluation can be based upon different factors like quality, price, or any other factor that is important for the customers. They may compare prices or read reviews and then select a product which satisfies their parameters the most. So again, I would like to give you a small example. When we are looking for alternatives, there are plethora of laptops when we come down to selecting a laptop. Now, laptop is something that you don't buy every year. You buy it, you put in a good amount of money, you invest in it, and then you use it for a continual period of time. So what I've seen a lot of youngsters doing these days, they if they want to buy a laptop, suppose they've selected that I am going with HP Spectre. Now they're going to go around and read reviews of that laptop on various forums. So that again helps them to decide their evaluation of alternatives when you're making a particular decision. Coming to the fourth stage, the purchase decision. When all of the above stages have been passed, the customer now has finally reached to the purchase decision. At this stage, the consumer has evaluated all the facts and has arrived at a logical conclusion, which is either based upon influence from marketing campaigns or upon emotional connections or personal experience, or it could also be a combination of all of these. Post-purchase behavior. This is finally after the purchase decision has been made, and this basically refers to analyzing whether the product was useful for the consumer or not. If the product has matched the expectations of the customer, they will serve as a brand ambassador who can influence their circle, the potential customers, and that will increase the customer base of that particular brand. The same is true for negative experiences. However, it can halt the journey of potential customers towards the product. So we will discuss this when I discuss the case, the post-purchase behavior. Ma'am, next slide, please. So here, this is a very interesting table where we are discussing the styles of consumer decision making and the characteristics that define that style. So here, if we look at the first one, a perfectionist, a high quality conscious consumer. When we talk about their characteristics, they measure a high quality consumer, conscious consumer characteristics. They are loading on this factor, measure a consumer's search for the very best quality in product. So a person who would be perfectionist, who's looking for a very high quality product, they would do a lot of search based on certain parameters. Especially, it could be quality, and price could not be a halting factor for them. Our second category would be a brand conscious or a price equals quality consumer. So what happens is they measure consumers' orientation towards buying the more expensive and well-known brands. They have a very positive attitude towards department and specialty stores where brand names and higher prices are prevalent. So, this is something that we can relate to when we are going to these nice supermarket stores, grocery stores. So what really happens is, uh, you know, um, displaying a lot of fancy things on their shelves and all. They are very brand conscious. The third would be novelty fashion conscious consumer. So I suppose on this characteristics are likely to see, and they keep up to date with whatever is going on. For example, a lot of people must be fond of going to Zara for shopping. So Zara is that novelty, fashion conscious consumer kind of store that markets itself that I'm the most stylish, I would say up to date, trendy place to come to when you want to shop. Next would be recreational, hedonistic consumer. When we talk about this category, these are pleasant and they just shop for the fun of it. Another would be price conscious or value for money consumer. These are the ones who are looking for sale prices and appear in general. Importantly, they are also concerned with getting the best value for their money. Another category would be impulsive or careless consumer. High scores on these characteristics mean that they do not plan their shopping. Furthermore, they appear unconcerned about how much they would spend or about the best buy. So this is somebody. Sometimes it happens when we're going out for just an outing, and you see a particular product, and you're so influenced with it that you just ready to spend a particular amount without thinking twice. So that is impulsive buying. That here, what a marketer strategy to actually shell out money from the consumer, and the product is so I would say tantalizing that the consumer do not get double thoughts about if he even needs it as a to fill his particular need or a problem. Ma'am, next slide please. So now let us discuss the case. This whole consumer decision making process, I wanted to discuss with the case, especially a B2B case, Cafe Coffee Day. We've all heard about this coffee chain, right? And Cafe Coffee Day is a subsidiary enterprise of Coffee Day Enterprise. This is the, ma'am, next slide, please. So we have a brief introduction about this as an organization. It owns and operates coffee cafes in India. Coffee Day Enterprises owns and operates coffee cafes in India. The company primarily operates cafe chain outlets under CCD, the Lounge and the Square brand names. It is also involved in the retail and sale of coffee beans and powder for household consumption, restaurants and eateries through Coffee Day Fresh and ground outlets. They have operational kiosks under the Coffee Day Express brand, as well as machines under the Coffee Day Beverages brand. In addition, the company engages in trading as well as procuring, processing, roasting, and retailing coffee products across different formats. It is also an export of coffee beans primarily to Europe, Japan, and the Middle East. Coffee Day Global Limited flagship cafe chain brand Coffee Day owns 1722 cafes and 532 CCD Value Express kiosks. The coffee beans and powder are marketed through 403 fresh and ground coffee stores. There are 40, this is an interesting fact, there are 47,747 vending machines that dispense coffee in corporate world and hotels under the brand. So we've all gone to CCD at least once in our life, I'm sure. And what is interesting is they are also having vending machines in a lot of corporate offices. So in every corporate office, there is a coffee vending machine, a cafe area where you can go and pick up coffee or snacks. So CCD has a very strong presence in corporate offices with their vending machines. And that is how we are connected with them. I will discuss that further. And next slide, please. So the coffee, while the coffee business is the main business of Coffee Day Enterprises, it has also a presence in logistic, financial, leasing, and commercial space and hospitality business. Coffee Day Enterprises owns and operates luxury boutiques, one directly through our company and two through our wholly owned subsidiary, Coffee Day Hotels and Resort Private Limited, under the brand The Serai. As on 31st March 2020, Coffee Day Enterprises Limited had 45 subsidiaries, including indirect subsidiaries and 3 associate companies and 3 joint ventures. And next slide, please. Now coming to what we do. We as SIP AgroPack aim to cater to the basic needs of quality at economical prices. So we have experience in areas such as coffee to go, cold drink, vending, sampling, retail, and portion control. We do various forms of cups and food containers, and CCD is one of our so when I talked about CCD, the 40,000 cost for producers, we uh, constantly supply.
Surbi, I will suggest please keep your camera off because this is something very interesting, but your voice is breaking a lot. So that I think camera off kar lo.
Is it better, ma'am?
Yes, it is better. So now maybe you can tell about SIP AgroPack once again.
So let's we run SIP AgroPack, SIP AgroPack, and we are doing disposable paper cups, food containers, and portion containers, coffee, cold drink cups, vending, sampling, and retailing of these food containers and coffee cups. So we've been connected with the CCD as one of our biggest clients. And since CCD, I mentioned that Coffee Day Enterprises has approximately 47,000 vending machines installed in various corporate offices across India. We supply them our paper cups and food containers. Now, this, ma'am, next slide, please. This is what we do. So we have a few of our clients. We do these are various kinds of works that we've done for various clients. So this is just this image is just to give you a hint of what we cater to in the business. Ma'am, next slide, please. Now, when we talk about consumer decision making process, I here want to discuss two perspectives. What was Coffee Day Enterprises' reaction, and what we as marketer, as a pitcher to them, use what kind of strategies we use to pitch to them and come into a contract with them and finally be able to solve their need or their problem through our product. So we know that the first stage in consumer decision making was need recognition. So Coffee Day has been into this business of coffee before even we started, and they were already using paper cups. But somehow in the vending, in the vending area, they were not happy with the corporates. They were using whatever kind of cups. They were not happy with the quality and the make of the cups. So here we, as marketers, we look for clients. We got to know about them, and we heard about their need, the problem that they are facing. And here we identified the client's need, and we intended to cater to the client's requirement with a more quality and economical alternative. So what we did, we pitched them a better quality product and an economical alternative as to what they were using. Now, the second stage comes in. We are talking about information search. Coffee Day was looking for alternate suppliers because they were not happy with the present one, and they wanted somebody who could commit to quality to them and at a better feasible pricing and could, sustain the quality over the long duration of time. Because what really happens is, आप product लेने जाते हो, you go and buy a product, you are happy or a service, and when you go back to them, what happens is you see sometimes the quality of the service has reduced. You're not happy to go back. So that sustaining of that particular quality or service is very, very important if you want to pitch a client in a long term. There, what we did as a marketer, as a business who wanted to get a client, we proposed the client with a quality cup made from premium paper and feasible pricing. So we've all heard about ITC. We have notebooks from ITC. We have various products coming from ITC. ITC is also into the food segment. Earlier, it was just into tobacco and cigarettes, but it has catered into a variety of things now. So in India, the most premium category of paper, if you want to ever get into this business, would be ITC. So we, took paper from ITC. We designed a beautiful cup. Pictures you couldn't see once on your slide. Also in the next slide, also you'll be able to see. And we proposed this to them. The third stage was evaluation of alternatives. Now, Coffee Day had obviously it had floated. We call RFQ. So RFQ is request for quotation. When a company wants to really look for alternatives, they float a RFQ form in the market, and it's like you have to fill in that form for a particular quotation as to how nicely you will be able to what quotation and what cup and what specifications of the product can you offer to them. So what we did was, after we submitted our RFQ form to Coffee Day, we arranged for a sales meeting with the client. Meanwhile, we had developed a physical sample of the same. This is one of the recent designs that they were using. Earlier, Coffee Day was using a more simpler design. So we arranged a physical sample for them, and we suggested them why we can work better than anything else. So here, the client is looking, the consumer is looking for alternatives. Now, you as a marketer can pitch to them why you are better than others. If you can do that and you are successful, you've got the client. So finally, when it came down to purchase decision, that was our fourth stage. Coffee Day has finalized on giving SIP, the vendor contract. Now, when we as a marketer pitched to them, our whole sales team went to Bangalore. That's where their headquarters is. We showed them our product. We told them we are using ITC paper. We told them we have a contract with ITC and we'll supply you without fail. We'll give you the same quality over the year. And we finalized the price that was more suitable to them, and we finalized the payment terms. So here, after that, Coffee Day has confirmed us as their vendor. We signed a contract and we finalized the rate and the payment terms. Finally, after that, we come down to the fifth stage, that is the post-purchase behavior. Now, how do we maintain that? I earlier mentioned that we'll discuss about post-purchase behavior. I think it has been 7 or 8 years that we are with CCD now. To be very honest, I'm not even remember how. I think from the beginning we have CCD. So after a year we started, we got CCD, and touchwood, we still are working with that client. So how do you maintain as a marketer? How do you maintain and ensure that your post-purchase behavior is, in your favor? So we take periodic feedbacks from our client on how to improve and maintain the quality of the product. And apart from that, once a design has changed, a new design has developed, we make that lot. We ask them, how do you find it? Do you need any changes? Would you want to darken the color? Would you want to change the thickness of the paper? So things like that. We take periodic reviews from our client. And Coffee Day as a client is more than happy to provide us with their expertise on and their feedbacks, and that ensures that we are on the positive note with them. And next slide, please. So, it can be concluded that a consumer generally uses all five stages during decision-making process in the product. Is rarely or occasionally with high involvement. The consumer purchase goods or services that include low involvement in decision making. Could be a product that is in daily use or a low cost product. For buying daily usage products, the most probability is to skip the one or more than one stages in the decision making process. Ma'am, next slide, please. So here I wanted to also portray the marketer's perspective, which I think makes more interesting. The whole strategy of consumer decision making process becomes more interesting to understand from a dual perspective. So this five-stage decision process model views the consumer as a problem solver and information processor who engages in a variety of mental processes to evaluate various alternatives and determine uh, the degree to which they might satisfy need or purchase motive. There are other perspectives regarding how consumers acquire the knowledge and experience they use in making purchase decisions. Consumer learning has been defined as the process by which individuals acquire the purchase and consumption knowledge and experience they apply to future related behavior. And next slide, please. Many of the purchase decisions people make as consumers are based on habitual or routine choice process. For many low-priced, frequently purchased products, the decision process consists of little more than recognizing the problem, engaging in a quick internal search, and making the purchase. So this has been mentioned quite multiple of times that when the product is low priced, you really do not indulge in the whole five-stage process, but you just quickly recognize the problem. You engage in a quick internal search, you make a quick search, and then you finally make the purchase. The consumer spends little or no effort engaging in external search or alternate evaluation. So not all the stages are applied to repeated products because the person already has preferences and brand loyalty. So brand loyalty, company's marketing strategy, they come and play a lot over here. Therefore, marketers of products characterized by a routine response purchase process need to get and keep their brands and consumers evoked state and avoid anything that may result in their removal from it. Marketers of these brands want consumers to follow routine choice process and continue to purchase their products. This very simple example again I would like to put in here. 10 rupees Lays. So, when young, very toddlers, I would say, or kids under 6, they know they want Lays, and the parents are also, pretty much sure that the quality is going to be good. They do not reconsider buying any other alternative. Various brands that have come in Bingo, and then there is Sunfeast. So they do not get into that. It is a low price product as compared, and there the kids are also pretty much satisfied with the taste. So you do not get into the whole 5-stage decision making process again and again over here. And next slide, please. So that was it, and I am open to any sort of.
Yeah, Surbi, it was an excellent discussion. Just some okay. I hope to have some questions from students. Any student has a question, I have given you the rights. You can unmute yourself and ask questions. So Surbi, while okay, Shreya Tripathi. Yes, Shreya, please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, ma'am. I just wanted to ask this question. Like you stated that cafe coffee day, like when you're catering to your client, like cafe coffee day, you basically said that quality was something that they mentioned, and it was the biggest factor that you're looking forward. But somewhere I believe that I've read that CCD, it stated that when they were growing in India, they stated that they wanted to make their outlet a place which is more relaxed and it's fun and a place for the aspirational youth of the country. So somewhere, don't you think that the cups are also a part of the ambience, and somewhere the cups need to lure in these kind of target audience as well? So just placing that the red color or like I don't know if this is the right way to say it, but I think in your slide you also show that Batman cup. So don't you think that that could also be one way that you can maybe present them that because your idea is to do this, so you can also have this kind of cup to create an ambience like that.
Okay. So let me tell you, CCD is again. I'll just explain. CCD is doing. One is the CCD kind of vending machine. Okay. So when you go to the CCD outlet, to the coffee place for with your friends, there you sit down and their strategy is to make you relax, feel relaxed. You've come for an outing, it has to be fun, peppy. Okay, and another area when you're going to the office to work in a corporate environment, there they are looking for something more simpler and that meets the basic essential need of having a nice cup of coffee while you're working in the evening or in the morning, or you just want to have water. So these are two separate areas of business. Firstly, for CCD. Secondly, when we talk about something fun and chirpy, as I told you, they did. There was a project that they did pre-COVID. So they have launched something very interesting. So for them, we did a very fun, chirpy kind of because they follow a particular theme of red and white. We did a cup for them that was red and white with a splash of color mentioning their tagline. And the other cups that I've displayed are not for CCD. We did them for other clients. They are our piece of work that I wanted to show you that we do various kinds of fun projects also. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, I just wanted to add that the cups that you designed is absolutely amazing. I hope that one day, like, I can get uh, some of that for myself as well. Thank you.
Yes, any other student having any
Any
other
other?
query?
Yes, any other queries? No. Okay. Vanda ma'am, you have any questions?
No, the way she has explained consumer decision making and CCD more clearer to us. I mean, I have never read such a great explanation about the company and
Actually, Surbi. In fact, Surbi, I've been in touch with you for almost a year now, but I never think that this is the job task that SIP Agro Pack does. To be very frank, Surbi, I have two questions. So, like Shreya said that you had said at one point actually that you went to their head office and you said you are going to give them best quality. So that is why you procured paper from ITC and everything. So yeah, how do you break even? How do you get into that context that everybody says we are going to give you best quality, but how do you prove yourself without having any other clients like CGD earlier? If you didn't have, then how do you prove yourself?
You know, about the bitter truth of working in a manufacturing firm and in this sector, what really happens is, not everybody desires quality. Not everybody wants कि हाँ आप मेरे को ना, for example, let's say 500 rupees का product नहीं चाहिए, मुझे 100 का चाहिए, चाहे quality कम दे दो. That happens. And being this is a very, I would say, unorganized sector that we've worked in, but sticking to your own commitment, sticking to your vision. That is why I suppose we've always been taught, even in theory, that you need to have a vision, you need to have a mission when you're starting a business. Sticking to particular value that I have to work only in quality product, I only have to serve quality to my customer. That entails that your integration is towards that particular value that you're following. So a lot of times, and I am amazed that that happened with me, and I often quote it to people when we are discussing. What happened is, we often get competitors, and as I told you, this is a very unorganized sector. So there was a really big giant, I am not sure, I would not take the name, I am not sure if somebody is from their background. So that
Okay.
with humongous setup, like twice the setup that we had when we were beginning. Actually, when we were in the middle of the growth stage. So they what they did was they pitched into our clients, our marketing guy ditched us in the middle and joined their team for a better pay. And we took some of our clients, we pitched our clients with a lower rate. We provide, पर हम आपको ना we'll give you at a cheaper rate. So our clients went and we were pretty much like, obviously ये तो बहुत ही disappointing हो जाता है, demotivating हो जाता है. But it was a matter of 7 to 8 months, and I had my clients coming back to me saying that the amount that you want me to pay, but I want quality.
Okay, so what I infer out of it is one lesson for all our students, that if you are promising quality, you need to stick to it yourself. Maybe nobody else may demand it, but for long-term growth, you need to stick to quality. Absolutely right. So we have Shubham also raising his hands. Yes, Shubham, you can go ahead.
So, ma'am, I wanted to ask that, like, ma'am, Shreya asked about the CCD one. So, while I was watching Shark Tank, I came to know that a couple who were like Saas and Bahu, who were designing new type of containers which would be used for like delivering products. It has like a like a katori kind of a thing and a spoon which was made out of that particular box by ripping up the, and they were like selling and like they were into a B2B business with the Haldiram, and they were also in different kind of chains. So I wanted to ask that how could these kind of businesses could grow in these kind of products that we as a consumer are already consuming those paper spoons and those plates which are designed and those are like recycled products. So, is there any market for these kind of products? Because they didn't get the uh, investment which they were asking for.
So I'll tell you, you must have seen the whole episode. What we did, they did not really have the, what would I say? The base wasn't very strong. They did not have any sort of technology being used. They were not patented with whatever idea they were using. And therefore, what really happened is the clients also, they were pitching to them. Abhi client ka wo usme sirf Haldiram ka bhi final pura nahi hua tha, if you've seen it. So they were saying we're in the process of pitching to them, and just one or two normal small vendors had started using them. So, I think if you want to get started in any sort of this business verticals or any sort of this business line, it is very important for you to have a strong plan. What do you want to get into? What do you want to do? And who you want to pitch to? So, when we started, we were sure that we are going to pitch to these corporate chains because they use a lot of cups for water, tea, coffee, juice. Gradually, over the time, now that we have kind of saturated with our that product line, we are now thinking to start pitching to coffee chains. We never pitched to coffee chains earlier. So you need to have a strong plan and a vision statement. Obviously that can get upgraded in 5 years, or let's say in 3 years of time, as and when the circumstances change. Now I'll tell you this is getting very interesting with Shark Tank being discussed, but I'll just tell you a very small example. It's very interesting. I'm sure everybody in Noida has heard of Kailash Hospital. So Kailash Hospital is a big chain. They have 2 to 3 hospitals in Noida, and I think one in Meerut, I suppose. So they were using plastic cups. Okay, and plastic we know has this BEP and
होता है लेकिन आज मैं बोल के आता हूँ तेरे को ये
so
मच्छर
they were using plastic cups, and being a hospital chain, it was very, very vulnerable for them to use plastic for their patients or for their clients. Then somehow we got a catch of their marketing head, and that also I came to know when one of my friend had gone to meet there with the doctor. She had an appointment, so that's how I came to know that they were using plastic disposables. So we got a catch with their marketing head. We did a meeting with their entire marketing team. We pitched them our product, also to note that plastic is cheaper than paper. So to pitch them an expensive product, but definitely, as I told you, we were serving quality. Today we are supplying to Kailash Hospital since I think more than 6 years now.
That's so nice. That's great. Okay. Okay. So, Surabhi, is CCD your first client?
And CCD was not my first client.
Sorry? Domino's. Okay. Surabhi, I think you know the story of Mrs. Bector. Before closing the session, we just about to close. I hope you know the story of Mrs. Bector, Cremica. She started with supplying sauces. You know, her first break even came when she started supplying sauces to McDonald's, those 1 rupee packs. And after that, what happened to Rajni Bector is something which is history. I'm sure everybody eats that bread, and now she started from her garage, and then 30 years later, I think she recently got a Padma Award also. So Surabhi, we are very happy to know your growth and progress, and I hope we also see you someday launching your own IPO and receiving some awards, etc., doing such a good work. Okay. So, Vanda ma'am, shall we close this session?
Yeah, sure, ma'am. Sure, ma'am. Sure.
Okay. Does any other student have any questions? Okay. Thank you so much, Surabhi, for being with us and for sharing such great insights. And I hope to invite you once again for some other subject and some other session. Thank you.
It was a great learning indeed.
Yes, it was.
It's
Surabhi,
very
yeah.
on, and to have an opportunity to speak to these young minds. It's a great. So much for having me, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Surabhi.
Thank you.
Thank you.